I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar today. So today we're joined by someone very special. So I think before I go into that, I just want to go through sort of, I'll call it an agenda for today's webinar. We're going to have opening and welcome by our chairperson, Movango. I'm hoping he's online. And then I think a brief about what BMF is all about. Unfortunately, the videos, the sound was not forthcoming, because I think it would have covered the gist about it. And then we'll go into the topic of the day. We'll provide a brief background about our guest, and then what we hope to get out of this webinar is related to number one, identifying unusual solutions to common challenges. Number two, guidelines to starting small but aiming big. Number three, it's a question of whether do I need a mentor or a role model. This can be a mentor, be it for your career, a mentor for your business. Number four, it's a question of, now that I have started my business, now what? And then number five, Mr. Mangha will go into what he's busy with now and what his future plans are. And then we'll have questions number six, and then number seven, it will be vote of thanks, and then we will close. Thank you so much. Movango?
Yes, Malida.
Yeah, thank you. I think if you can formally open the webinar for us, and welcome everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, MC. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, colleagues. Thank you very much for taking your time today to attend the webinar that's organized by BMF Soweto. So I would like to welcome everyone, especially our guest will actually be sharing or deliberating on everything that is here for. So feel free, if you've got anything, question you want to ask, you can pose them, or you can also follow as per our MC. But on behalf of BMF Soweto, welcome. I hope you have a very good time and also enjoy our webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Movango. Yeah, so a brief about BMF. BMF as an organization, it's a non-profit organization which was started in 1996. I just hope I'm not wrong. I'll just give it a very short synopsis. I think BMF stands for the Black Management Forum. I think primarily it is there to train Black managers within corporations, within business. It is the champion of Black economic empowerment. And today we saw it fit to have a webinar that's going to talk to be it the entrepreneur or the professional who wants to go into business. And we reached out to someone, I think, who's done a lot in his life. I think who's very driven, and someone who's done some mistakes and learned from it and is willing to share his knowledge. Someone who's also expanding his businesses as well as his knowledge base. I think maybe if I can introduce our guest for today. So I looked for Mr. Mangha online, and I found his profile online. So Mr. Manka is an entrepreneur that has previously served time as an inmate at the Lugop prison. He was sentenced to 15 years after participating in an armed robbery, but was released after only serving half of the sentence due to evidence of successful rehabilitation. During his time in prison, Mr. Manka participated in various recreational activities that championed the cause towards crime prevention and became the ambassador for many such organizations. He also used this time to engage in academic study that saw him obtain various qualifications through the University of South Africa. He is currently a successful entrepreneur with various business interests established and sustained since his release in 2012. Most importantly, he has continued to tirelessly be involved in ex-offender empowerment and crime prevention program. So to list a few things that I think he has done and has achieved, Mr. Manka has a 3-year national diploma in human resource. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Politics, and Economics. He currently has a business that deals with import and exports. He exports to places like China, France, Dubai, and Turkey. He's a motivational speaker. He's a mentor and a coach. Yes, that's just the short end of it. Yes, so Mr. Manka, I would like to welcome you to our webinar. I'm just hoping that our cameras can be enabled so that our guests can see as they hear you. Ntate Manka, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think one of the reasons why I think we saw it fit to invite Mr. Manka, I think there's an organization which I think shares videos, I think, of former inmates who have been rehabilitated, who wants to share their experience. I think there is one particular experience, Mr. Manka, that you shared in the video, that whilst in prison you were studying, and you found a challenge that your studies require a laptop, and there was no way for you to have a laptop, either from inside the prison or from outside from any relatives. And I remember you thought about it. You thought about it, I think, extensively up until a point whereby you up until a point whereby you decided. I think you were sitting somewhere, and next to you was your handy, your dishwash, and so forth. All these random items, and then you took it and you looked at the bag, and you started dialing each and every one of them. And whoever would answer, you tell them that no, and you were honest and say, you know what, I'm currently an inmate, and I'm currently doing my Bachelor of Arts. Unfortunately, as a result, I cannot access a laptop. I would like a laptop to be donated to me. And I think in the story, I think a number of companies responded to your request. Each of the companies, I think, sent quite a number of laptops. Yeah, and then when they reached you, I think everyone was surprised that so many laptops just for one person, and you could only have one person. And I think that is when I myself was like, that is an unusual solution. I mean, who would have thought to look at an ordinary item for assistance? And such as my belief, I think it is paramount, especially to business people, given the challenges we are facing currently, be it the lockdowns, be it COVID-19, be it businesses going into the digital space and so forth. Yeah, and I think such a mindset, such a hunger to succeed is required to break through all those barriers. And hence, you as a business person who is running successful businesses, I think this is something that as business people, as career-driven people, we'd like to hear your thoughts that how do we navigate this difficult times, be it load shedding, be it COVID-19, changing customer base, and so forth. Mr. Manka?
Yes, yes. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your question? Do I need to answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Can you repeat that question for me, please?
Yeah. I think given these difficult times of COVID-19, lockdowns, load shedding, and so forth, there are ever so many excuses for business people to give up. And given the unusual solution you found whilst you were in prison regarding finding laptops, how would you advise our fellow business people, how to navigate this difficult landscape for them to succeed?
Yeah, no, firstly, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to also share my experiences, but I think also it depends on the kind of business that you run, I remember during COVID, because I normally travel a lot to, overseas. So obviously as a result of COVID, then I couldn't travel anymore, but we had to come up with a plan because we also run a events and management company. We had to think about the ways as to how can we adapt at that time. And then we had to sit down. Yeah.
If you can turn on your camera.
I think my camera is on. It's not on.
It's not.
Because I think it says you cannot start the video because the host has disabled it. I think it's on your side.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, all along I was I thought you could see me.
Okay. No, please continue. Yeah, hopefully it will be sorted.
Yeah. So I always believe, because remember, I spent a lot of years in prison on my own. I didn't have any form of visit. So I didn't have, when you're in prison, you need a proper support structure. You need people who come there and give you and give you support, And when I talk about support, I'm talking about, we all know that the Department of Correctional Services in their correctional facilities, sometimes they run in short of things like your toiletries and so forth, So you need that constant support from a family. And unfortunately, with me, it was a different story because I had no one, to get a support. So I learned how to make means in that kind of environment, in that dark place, Yeah, because I think it's important for me to give a background as to what inspired me to always be that person who is solution driven, So, I mean, you just shared one of the story there, but I remember before then, when I started to go to school, it was a challenge because remember, I had to segregate myself from the old friends and from the guys that used to, that I used to commit crimes with. I had to separate myself, which it was not an easy thing to do because now they then see you as an outcast. They then see you as a coward, And I had to go to school to start from grade 10. And I didn't have any textbook, because the school at that time, they also didn't have textbooks in prison. There were many reasons as to why we didn't have textbooks. But the little textbooks that were there, I used to write notes. I used to write everything from the textbook. And you can imagine, I think I was doing close to 6 to 7 subjects at that time. But I had to write textbook. I had to write each and every textbook, the notes. And I had to, because they don't have professional educators there. They don't have professional teachers there. So obviously they will look for inmates who have gone beyond matric, you know, to come and also facilitate. We used to call them facilitators, just to help us understand the textbook. So I learned from that place, in that dark place, to come up with solutions, you know, to think and not to entertain more of the problems or the situation that I find myself in. I learned to make sure that I need to come up with a solution. That is why my mindset, I had this mindset of saying, I can do it. I need to find a way. There should be a way out, because I believe, Djibouti, in every situation that you find yourself in, there should be a way out. There should be a way out. And I remember one of the strategies that I had to use for me to avoid always taking notes. So I would ask the class teacher to say, okay, what is the syllabus tomorrow? What are we to focus on tomorrow? Then he will tell me that, no, tomorrow, economics will just focus on demand and supply, probably go to factors of production, for an example. Then during the night, I won't sleep. I will read and read and read, even though I didn't understand, but I will read and read, so that tomorrow I know that before he could go direct to, you know, to give us that lesson, he's going to ask us the questions. You know, he's going to try and establish as to how do you understand the topics. So I used to be the one who would give answers, and that gave me an advantage to those that had textbooks, but they didn't understand the content of the textbook. So they would come to me as a result of. Can you hear me?
Please share your video.
My video. Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
It's fine now, eh? Let me. Okay. Can I continue?
Yes, you may proceed, sir.
Okay, so to how I used to find solutions in a. So for me, during COVID, I had to come up to myself, you know what, I'm used to finding solution in a very dark situation. So here we are, I've got access to internet, I can do my research. I need to look as to how you know, as an event management company, how can we be able to do business in these difficult times? And we used to do drive-through baby showers, drive-through birthday parties, and so forth. So we had to come up with ways, you know, to, you know, we had to come up with solutions, because you know your business better. You know, it's very difficult to say this will be my advice, but since you know your business, you clearly need to do a that's really always need to, even if you first you need to sit down and think and look at the market, and also get my information.
And I think maybe the video is affecting the quality of your audio. So I think maybe it's better you switch it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's fine like this, ne?
Yeah, that's much better. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. So basically, I was just trying to answer the question, to say I don't have a specific answer, but my advice would then be to say you need to have that mindset, which you have to make it happen. You know, you have to make it happen. It should be part of your attitude in every situation, to say I need to find a solution. You know, and I believe there were solutions, because a lot of businesses they then had to resort to digital. You know, we had to look into the digital spaces. How can we run our businesses? You know, I think that would be my advice, because I can't say, because it depends as to which business are you into. You know, so obviously there will be a lot of solutions pertaining each and every kind of business that you find yourself in.
No, thank you so much for that. I think another thing that came up in the videos you shared, I think that really touched me, is that young people in townships, especially in townships, don't really have role models. Yeah, I think a lot of professionals, it is a given that you spend a lot of time at work, and from work you go straight home. Yeah, and I think that one, it's something that I think as the BMF, because we are the BMF Soweto branch, it's something that we need to champion, so that they can know that an accountant, an engineer, and so forth are people who do work and who are very successful in their endeavors. And even more so when you go into the business space, whereby a person who's running their own small businesses, not necessarily knowing or having a mentor, or knowing that they can look for a mentor, someone to guide them and hold their hand, give them suggestions within each and every type of challenges they are facing. I think right now in South Africa, we're going through a very tough challenge whereby the economy is changing. It is forcing a lot of people to go into unemployment, and people who've been working for many years must for the first time start earning a grant and be dependent on a grant. So it calls for each and every person from all spheres or sectors within the business space to sort of come together and say, but what is the solution towards this? You see, yes, everything is changing. Yes, the opportunities are very few, but how do we come together as business people to say, how do we grow this cake? Yes, and I think what I liked about your videos, I think you were relying quite a lot in terms of your experiences as a young person, that because my mentors were people, well, I think you mentioned it was your uncle, unfortunately, criminal. Yeah, but imagine the impact if your mentor back then was a person who was a business person, who would take your hand and this is how we do it. These are the steps you take. These are the courses you do, and so forth. How far you'd be today. Another reason why I was so inspired by your video. Yeah, I think as business people, as professionals, there are ever so many reasons to give up. There are so many excuses to give, in terms of why I can't start my business, or why is my business not successful? Why is it not growing? There are ever so many reasons. But a person who is a former inmate coming out, identifying opportunities, I think from a point of not having freedom and understanding the importance of freedom and what to do with it. It is critical for me, that we start teaching or encouraging our fellow small business owners that solutions will not always come from what we know. Start trying things that we've never tried before, knocking on doors that you've never knocked on before becomes very paramount, especially in this tough climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for instance, there's an article I was reading. Talking about starting new opportunities. It was saying that believing you can achieve big things helps you get started. Knowing you need other people to make it happen helps you finish. And when I look at your profile, there are a number of things, the number of endeavors you are taking part in. I think it tells me that you are knocking on a number of doors and you are looking for solutions to a number of problems. The other day, I think I saw you on television. You had an interview with Relebohile, sharing your story. Maybe the question is, how important is it? How important do you believe it is to share your story to someone who's never heard it before? Or
I think,
doesn't know
okay.
them? Yeah.
Yeah. You see, I think it's very important to share my story in all these different platforms. And remember, I've been in very various platforms because as soon as I was released in 2012, I was approached by the Department of Correctional Services, and they said that whenever SABC or Mzansi Magic, whosoever that needs to conduct an interview with an ex-inmate, we're going to recommend you guys. I think it was me and some of the guys, because of we can see the results of rehabilitation. And that's where I also saw the importance of sharing my story, because I want to encourage each and everyone out there, whether it's a young person or, to say they should not give up. Looking back, so when I was studying, I think I was on my second year, I understood, I had to face the reality, which obviously post-release, due to criminal record, the stigma, rejection, and all other forces that will be against me. They will be there, and obviously it's not going to be easy for me to apply for a job like anybody else. In fact, as I was doing my research a year before my release in 2011, I saw that there was a high rate of unemployment, and also to the graduate. And I had to ask myself several questions to say, these are innocent people. They've never committed any crime. They invested all their time in education, trying to develop and empower themselves so they can become better. And here they are, still they are unemployed. So how am I, it would be unfair to myself to say I'm going to get a job out there if there are a lot of unemployed youth, who have great skills, and so the only option for me is to become an entrepreneur, because as an entrepreneur, I understood the fact that if I register a company, and if my product or the service, whatever that I'm going to provide, it's good, so people will obviously look for my services on the basis of the quality that I provide. But obviously, they wouldn't worry about the person behind the company, because the company will then serve as a legal entity. So for me, I'll be like an agent for my company. So I'll just be like an employee for my company. I'll be an agent for my company. So the people they will just check the company profile and the service that I provide, and if it's good, then they will then engage with my services. So I saw that as an option. I saw that as something that can help me to sustain myself. But I had to do a lot of research as well to say, as soon as post-release, I need to make sure that I build my credit record. So I need to have a driver's license. I need to have a bank account. I need to understand what is the difference between a business account and a personal account, and the positive impact of having a business account, and also coming out for me to, because can you imagine, I was, the total amount of years that I stayed in prison is 12 years, also including awaiting trial. So obviously the environment has changed, everything has changed. So I had to make sure that whenever there's a business workshop, a business seminar, I must go there. So I used to attend a lot of workshops, as a way to understand what is happening out there. So the only source of information was to attend workshops and business seminars, and also to follow, successful entrepreneurs, successful businessmen, and companies that are doing well. So I had to follow those guys and learn from them, So that's one of the ways, because I didn't just say, okay, all right, I've got a qualification, then I'm good to go. No, I had to work as well. I had to look for activities that will feed to my vision, and activities that will also show me opportunities, and I didn't just attend workshops in jail. I will take notes, then I'll also follow up the speakers and check their background, how are they doing, and also engage with them. So my strategy was, if I want to join PMF, I need to study PMF, understand and do a SWOT analysis around BMF, and so that I can understand the strong points, the weak points of BMF. And when I identify weak points, then I see which, can I provide the solution there, or can I help them to improve their service there? Then I'll go and write a proposal and say, okay, BMF, here's my proposal. I can add this element, and this element will give you value. So that was my strategy, to say, if I'm looking for, I'm not going to go out and say, MoreFire, please give me a job. No. I'm going to check the business model of MoreFire, how they operate, and do a proper analysis on that business, and identify weak points and come up with a solution. So I know that when I approach them with a solution, then it's easy for them to take me on board. It's easy for them to say, okay, now we can try whatever that you're saying, and let's implement, and let's see if there's going to be a good result or not. So that was, so part of me sharing my story is just to encourage abantu out there with you. Here's a person with a criminal record. Because when I came out, I didn't even have a place to stay, for that matter, you know. So there was a lot of challenges, but despite those challenges and all these forces that were against me, I kept on saying to myself, I just have to keep on pushing. I can't give up. Keep on pushing, keep on trying, but also make sure that I surround myself with activities that will add value to what I want to achieve. You know, part of going to workshops, workshops and business seminars. So there were things that I had to, to say, I'm going to do this and this. So you're not going to find me in nightclubs or wherever in those places, because for me, I couldn't derive value from those places. And, I needed something that would add value into my vision each and every day. And also to create a network, because I understood that they say your network is your net worth. So I had to create a network. And also after creating a network, I had to manage my network. Because sometimes I could have a network with BMF, but that does not mean currently I might need BMF, but I need to keep that relationship healthy. So that probably maybe 4 or 5 years to come, I might need BMF. So I need to have access to BMF as well. So not only to create networks, but also to manage the networks is very important. So I learned those principles, and I said, I'm going to live by these principles. This I'm going to do, and this one I'm not going to do. And I had to be honest with myself and understand what I want, and also do a lot of introspection. And also I had to, to check as to what is it that I'm good at, and what is it that I'm not good at, and how do I, strike partnerships, and all those things, and also how to formalize my business, because also I had this mindset which I don't have to go out and look for funding, but I can always fundraise. So for example, if my idea needs close to, let me just do a projection. Maybe I want to start a business, or there's this idea, but it needs close to 200,000. I'm not going to say who's going to fund the business, but so I need to find a way as to how can I fundraise. There are a lot of black businesses or small businesses out there who have good products and good services, but they don't know how to sell. They can't get the sales. So that's part of what I will consider. To get involved in those kind of businesses and try to sell their products. I've sold a lot of products. Ogunga says, products from other businesses, just for me to fundraise. So I always have this mindset of saying, how can I fundraise? What can I sell for me to fundraise this amount of money? It might take me 2 years or 3 years, but let me fundraise. I've never been that who went to, for funders and investors and get frustrated. I always come up with ways to fundraise. And I believe there's a lot of ways to fundraise. For me, I think there's a lot of ways to fundraise towards funding your idea, So I thought it's important for me just to share my story, to say to people, look where I come from. You can also do it. You don't have a criminal record. At least you don't have a criminal record. Like I feel like if people, and how I struggled to get my qualification, let's forget about a diploma and a degree, how I struggled to get my matric with nothing. I didn't have enough resources. but I made sure that I'm going to push. And I gave myself time, so Vision 2030, it has always been my driving force. Since from 2012, I have this thing of, I give myself Vision 2030. So in 2030, I will then review and check as to how far is my progress, and give yourself time. Don't rush, and give yourself time, because things take time. Things takes time. So I didn't want to build a business just because I want to buy a Range Rover tomorrow, or I want to buy a mansion tomorrow. I understood the principles, of becoming successful, to say it takes time. It takes time. But for me, I felt like it's important to share my story in that aspect.
That's a mouthful. I think we covered quite a lot. I think what stands out for me, I think it's asking yourself, how will I fund this business? Yeah, I think a lot of business people, SMMEs, I think are looking towards your CEDAs and so forth, and there's limited resources, there's limited funds, and then there's unlimited ideas. So the chances of not getting funding is quite high. Hence, I think your example of, taking responsibility of saying, how will I fund my business? What else can I do? What other steps can I take in order to get these funds so that I can fund my idea? And you saying that, give yourself time. I think it's very critical. Yeah, I think as business people, I think we give ourselves a lot of pressure, be it pressure from society, be it pressure from family, pressure from the needs I need to provide. I think, I mean, in 2012, you were already saying Vision 2030.
Yes.
Just like 18 years away,
Yeah.
So phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
Yeah. Because I remember DJ Spoo used to say to me, Tina's Pusher, Leadership 2020, it's Vision 2020. And I said to him, no, mine is Vision 2030, and he said to me, because he was part of SLEF, Solo Hope Education Foundation, and he said to me, we do a lot of motivations in schools. Come and join us. So I went there once, and I didn't like their delivery and how they used to do things. Because how they used to do things, okay, it was good, but not from my point of view, because now they used to go to schools and then Babelaphe assembly and address the kids there. So I can't be an assembly and tell the kids about drugs and all these things, because for me, I felt like there's a child there who has never experienced any drug, who doesn't even know what is substance abuse. In fact, doesn't even know what is a drug. And here I am, and I'm going to talk to a lot of kids about drugs. So for me, I felt like it's going to be untidy, and it's going to be careless of me to do that. So I said to schools, I'm going to develop a program, and that program I'll address certain things in that program. Then I'll also bring some of the ex-inmates to come and address certain things. But you need to give us the troublemakers, those kids that bunk school, those kids that are always giving you in trouble. Select them, then we can come and address them. Because I wanted to be specific, and also I wanted to measure the impact of the program. Because going to school and speaking to 900 kids, the assembly, and then every week you go to school, and then come the end of the day, then you sing to us, no, we have reached out to 3,000 kids. To be honest, it's not, for me, those are not facts. Those are not facts. How do you measure the impact of your program? So I had to design a program where then we'll deliver our program to 45 or 50 kids. And we had to do the pre-assessment evaluation and post-assessment evaluation to check ukuthi abantwana bagaining from that. So it was easy for us to measure the impact of our program. So when we say to people, for 2018, for example, we reached out to 200 kids. They couldn't understand. And whereas other organizations, they will say, no, we reach out to 3,000 kids. But do we have evidence? We have touched each and every child, you know? So my point is also how you do things. You need to come up with a way that will be unique, you know, a unique way of doing things, and also to formalize your staff. And also to understand the Tina, at that time, as we were running that program, I spoke to a lot of retired social workers. I had to look for retired social workers, psychologists, and psychiatrists to be part of the program, because I knew as I'm talking to kids, obviously there'll be a lot of issues. There will be a lot of things that I need to address from those kids, because there were some of kids. I mean, I've been in situations where a young girl will come to me and say, "Can I see you?" And I say, "Yes, let's talk in private." And a young girl will tell me, "I'm not performing at school because my stepfathers are abusing me," and you know, things like that. And I don't know how to, you know, to talk to my mom. You know, those are heavy issues. So that's why I made sure good thing, but I'm a psychologist and psychiatrist and social workers, you know, retired ones, so that I can do referrals as well. So that is a full packaged program, which then, as a result, now it allowed me to go to social development and look for funding. You know, even though I didn't, but I had an opportunity to go to social development or to National Lottery Sport to look for funding, because I had to work. I was putting a lot of work and I had results. So my point is, sometimes if running an NPO, you need to do the work and be able to measure the impact of your program. It's not about numbers, but it's all about the impact. And sometimes we're missing it by saying, no, we need the numbers. We need to reach out to kids and stuff, but we don't have the tools to measure the impact of the program.
That's a thing. That is a whole lesson on how to sort of develop your business, you know. Yeah, I think when you mentioned that you identified that what the program that DJ Sbu was running was not specific enough, when you said I need to segment my market. Yes, target my program to a segment so that that value proposition can be seen, can be measured, and the impact can be felt. Yeah, you know, I think that is very powerful. That is very powerful. That is very powerful, because I think as small business owners, we run into the trap in that of we want to service everyone. Yeah, everyone is our customer. You know, each and every person is our customer. Yeah, and I think what you are bringing up, you know, it talks to starting small but aiming big. Yeah, and also identifying that not every other business related to what you are doing is your competitor. You know, yeah, as you are mentioning that other organizations were saying that we reached out to 3,000 numbers, but those could not be substantiated and that value could not be measured. But you, with your 300 numbers, the value was quadrupled, you know. Yeah, and the measure could be seen and could be felt. And you bring professionals
that I didn't have to pay for them. Yes.
You know, regarding that you do not have. You know, I think what you have explained to me, I think it's a lesson to a lot of potential business owners, current business owners, people facing challenges. You know, coming up with ideas of how do I transition? You know, how can I segment this market and only cater for those that actually need my services and ultimately are willing to pay for it.
Yeah. And you know, for us, as we're going to schools, we realized that there were a lot of issues, bullying and all this stuff. And I said to the guys, for us to sustain what we are doing, let us approach all the SGBs of the schools and to say we can supply cleaning products or anything. And we used to approach the SGBs and they'll tell us, no, we have a contract with so and so. Then I said to them, okay, but now I can run this program and it's going to be very much effective and helpful for this young kid, then you'll see the performance we're going to solve a lot of problems, in terms of bullying and all these other issues. So if you can buy, at least buy few, then we'll provide this program. I mean, I could have said to the guys, no, let's go and look for funding before we can push the program. But we had to come up with a way to say, no, we can sell. The school can buy the stuff from us. And that's why we learned that there's a section 21 and there's section 20. Section 21 is all by the schools given money to buy their own stuff. And section 20 are those schools that they mismanage funds. So the government will then have to buy for them. And the schools used to buy, few stuff. You end up supplying close to 16 to 17 schools and running programs there. So eventually we're making something. But also getting that money, I had to say, guys, we need to have a business account. Those are basics, obvious. So that whenever the money that we get from all these services, it goes to the business account. And then a certain date, like the 2nd of every month, we then go through the books, then we can reward ourselves there. Because that it will also help you to not live beyond your means. So if I'm earning 500 Rand from my business, so transferring 500 Rand from my business account to my savings account, then I know I need to live within 500 Rand for now, So that helped me, I should not touch Imali that is in the business account. Because I had to say to the guys, we need to make sure with the business account, it's proper and there's accountability. We need to keep each and every receipt so that we can see whether we're growing or we're not growing. And from that, you can understand some of the children will go to their parents and obviously tell their parents about the experience. There were these guys who came to school, and that parent is owning some wholesalers. Then he will then say to us, guys, I want to give you business because of what you've done to my child. So for us, we didn't see a need to go to social development, National Tourist Board to look for funding, but we had to think and come up with ways to say, this is a product that is going to change lives, but you also need support, So my point is, it's not always about funding or investors. Sometimes you just have to put on the work, just put in the work and just put in the work, and try to be professional as much as you can. Because also, I said to the guys, Uguti, our social media guys pages, you can't be doing these things to school and preaching all these messages, and after now your post like an image up on social media doesn't speak what you're doing each and every day. So we need to be careful what we post out there, what we say out there. So always, when people see us on social media, we need to look at the part in terms of what we do. We should not be contrary in what we do, and that's how we grow the organization. Had a very good growth from that point until some of the guys then they started to venture into other businesses, But my point is, there was a discipline, there was accountability. We used to account for each and every cent. We used to account. So accountability also, it's very important, So those are my experiences in Shara among Sapuma, which is how I managed to, to grow the organization and also to venture into other businesses as well,
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think there's one item I think I would like you to provide more information about. I think I saw a poster that you're going to be doing an import and export business seminar. I think on the 9th of December. Yeah, I think I, for one, I've never even considered export or import as a possible business. And I think it's something that I've believed it's for the elite. It's for people whose parents, whose grandparents have done it before and so forth. Yeah, I for one, it's an avenue that has never even crossed my mind, not even once. Yeah, so when I saw your post, I think it really stood out for me. Yeah, so I think maybe if you can talk about that, the value regarding the seminar, and yeah, any other relevant information.
Yeah, so the concept was inspired by all my trips to, I always tell people which I've never been to Phuket or Indonesia or Dubai for vacation or vacation. And it's always been business and trying to find those opportunities. So in 2015, I went to the airport because I always, normally when I go to these shops, Mr. Price or Edgar's, when you buy a shoe or a t-shirt there's a sticker that says Edgar's. But below the sticker, you'll find now which it's no longer Mr. Price, but now you'll see made in China, made in Indonesia, made in Taiwan. I used to ask myself, who are these guys who supply Mr. Price, the Edcon Group? Who are these guys? How do these things get into South Africa? In fact, into Africa? Who are the people who are doing this thing? And when you go to the airport, the cargo side, find containers there. There's furniture there. There's a lot of products there. And then you look at Alibaba online. People are buying stuff online. People are buying hair online. And then you go to these boutique stores in this upmarket, and most of these boutique stores, they are owned by Senegalese and Nigerians. Then you ask yourself, Ivan, where do they get these clothes? Then you ask them. They tell you, no, my friend, I get this from Italy. No, I get this from China. I get this from Turkey. And I was like, no, but I think I need to venture into this space because remember, my specialty was economics, because I did a BA in philosophy of politics and economics, but my major was economics and philosophy was my second major. And then I started asking questions. How do you bring these things, Lana, Wenzalalani, and so forth? And a lot of fashion designers say, "Cast, they'll tell you, no, I want to buy bulk of this in China, or wherever." But also in my mind, I'm like, are we not destroying the textile industry? Are we not killing jobs in South Africa? What is the better way of you importing, but in the process of importing also create jobs? And that was, I used to battle to get a answer, a right lab to say, but how do these guys do this thing? Then I started going to China. But for me, going to China was also to understand the whole thing, import and export. So I had to start small. So I used to buy hair, a lot of hair in China, and to come and supply hair in South Africa. I used to buy jeans, but plain jeans, also to supply to these shops and to also to some fashion designers. But I wanted to learn the process of how do you get an import and export license? How do you deal with customs? The tax, how can one, because my vision was not to focus in South Africa, was because I also been to Kenya several times and Botswana and Zim as well. So my view was the plan is to have an import and export company that is based in China, to have an office in China where I can conduct all these import and export activities in Africa. So instead of the people going for Alibaba, they can rely on me because I understood the in China, there's a lot of grades. There's a grade A, B, C in each and every product, whether it's a TV, it's a phone, clothing, it doesn't matter. And how sure are you when you buy that thing online? Because online, they might advertise grade A, but when you buy, they might give you grade C or grade B, and you won't see it. So I said, I need to be that company that can be reliable to the Africans. So not only in terms of clothing or hair, but there's a lot. Tires, I mean, if you look at the event and management company, the mobile toilets, all this, the stuff that they use for decor and so forth. So I could get them there, you know, and for me, it was cheaper compared to when you buy them this side, you know, all the stuff, you know, the electronics and so forth. So I've been doing that since from 2016, 17, 18, 19, until we're hit by Corona. And then I said, okay, now, I think now, because I understand the ins and outs of this industry, probably there are people who want to go big, but also the aspect of exporting as well, you know, to export, because I also sell stuff in Kenya. I also sell stuff in Botswana as well. So I said, let me, because normally when I do these seminars or these business events, I bring a lot of stakeholders. For example, in this seminar, there will be China embassy, because I want people to understand the process of getting a visa, you know, the process of getting a visa to America, China, wherever. And I also want people to understand that when you go overseas, especially for business, it's different as compared to somebody going overseas for vacation. Because when you're going for business, you have airlines like Emirates, Ethiopian Airline, Kenya Airline, Egypt Air, and because SAA was not going straight to China, it was going directly to Bangkok. So in those airlines, which one provided with a good package? The package, I'm not talking about the ticket price, I'm talking about the kgs, because when you go overseas to buy, let's say, a stock of 100,000, if it's going to be a cargo, it should be less than 200,000. So you need to buy kgs. How does one calculate kgs so that you would know how much stock you need to bring? That's why a lot of people, they're losing stock at the airport, because now there's a misinterpretation of kgs. There's a misinterpretation of not understanding what are the brands that are allowed and what is that is allowed and not allowed, and which is documentation you need to bring certain things. Like, for example, if you want to bring more than 100 cell phones, you need ICASA license as well, you know? So those are the things that I feel like we need to share this information. So I'm also, one of the stakeholders is Emirates as well. And one of the company that does a clearing agent, it's an international clearing agent company, they'll be there as well. So it's just to empower Abantu Bakithi with guys. Once you understand how to import, you will then understand how to export. Because I feel like when God is giving you an idea, He doesn't say this idea or the concept here or the vision APMF, maybe we are Soweto to South Africa. When God looks at you, He sees you as a global entrepreneur, not an entrepreneur as Soweto to South Africa. So it means if your idea fails as Soweto, it does not mean your idea has failed. Because you haven't tried Tembisa, Mamelodi, you haven't gone to other provinces. If it fails in South Africa, you must go to Zim, go to Kenya, go to India, you know, go to Botswana, because we're able to go into those places. And it's not expensive to go into those places, you know. You need to go there. And also, if there's a business conference in Kenya, buy a ticket and go. Create a network in Kenya. You will meet business people in Kenya. So what if your idea is supposed to service Abantu base Kenya, but you limit your idea because you're in South Africa, because you don't travel? Because I want our people to understand that traveling, it will open your mind. That's why today, you're having your phone now, a laptop. It's an international brand. You know, the manufacturer of that brand, whether that you are wearing or that you are using in your house, it's not a South African brand. It's an international brand, because that person understood the vision. Today we consume international brands because people, they understood that when God gives you a vision, He gives you a vision for the global community, not specifically for South Africans or Soweto or HMST, but we are global entrepreneurs. We are global citizens. So is our businesses. And we are blessed nowadays because we have the internet. We can connect with the rest of the world. So that is the purpose of this seminar in a nutshell. So we also have a restaurant in Pretoria, which is called the Ndaeni restaurant. Is in, if you know Pretoria State Theatre, there's a restaurant there which is called Ndaeni. So we'll be hosting this event there at that restaurant in Pretoria on the 29th of December, because we're trying to say to people, look, let us get into 2022 with a with energy, with the mindset to succeed, to make a difference. It is not all gone, we can still make it. So this event is just to inspire abantu, guys. As we warm up in a plus, we need to venture into, we need to understand that we are global entrepreneurs.
No, that is very powerful, Mr. Manka. I think, yeah, it's high time as South Africans. I think we start serving the world. I think we have a lot to offer.
Yeah,
We have a lot to offer, and I think this seminar, it's really going to open a lot of minds, a lot of ideas. It's going to connect a lot of dots. Yeah, I think I think the statement you made, that traveling opens your mind, and it gives you, it increases your network, and I've never personally thought of it like that, Yeah, and I think as BMF Soweto and as BMF, we are definitely going to encourage, I think, our members who are business people who want to expand their businesses overseas, into other African countries, into other continents. Yeah, to say, yeah, I think it's an avenue that is thought to be for very special people. Yeah, and I think your webinar is going to cast doubt on that myth. Yeah, and yeah, on that note, Mr. Manka, I think I would really like to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have definitely gained a lot as BMF Soweto. Yeah, in that it's high time we take Soweto to the world and not confine it to South Africa.
No.
Yeah, and I think your experience, I think it talks to the average person in Soweto, that, you know what, anything is possible. Anything is possible if you but open your mind, and network with the relevant people, the right people. Yeah. On that note, I'd like to thank you and thank everyone who is in attendance. I think this webinar, I think it set the tone for us as BMF Soweto that in 2022, we are definitely doing big things. In 2022, we are supporting businesses who are saying that I think my product is required internationally. And we are here to connect people to relevant people like Mr. Manka, who will advise and say, maybe you should take this channel, maybe you must go in this direction. I think in 2022, we are definitely doing things we've never done before, so that we can be in places we've never been before. On that, I'd like to end the webinar here and say, Mr. Manka, and to everyone in attendance, I don't think we're going to see each other again before Christmas. I'd like to wish everyone an early Christmas. And I'd like also to encourage everyone to attend Mr. Manka's session in Pretoria next to the State Theatre. We will definitely encourage our members towards the time and throughout December.
Okay. No, thank you so much,
Sorry, MC.
Yes.
I don't know if maybe, I know we ran out of time. If we can just see if those that are attending, if they've got any question for Mr. Manka.
Oh, Isha. Thank you so much for that. If there's anyone who has a question or any set of questions, they would be welcome.
Okay, let me go first because it looks like, just to, thank you very much, Mr. Manka, for very provoking webinar. I just wanted to know, because in Soweto, we do have, as part of BMF, we've got a student chapter, and you indicated that you also provide guidance to students and those aspiring entrepreneurs. So I wanted to know if maybe there's a way in which maybe we can have some sort of a working relationship as BMF Soweto, where you can guide our young student chapter and even our aspiring entrepreneur, as you know that the kids or the young people are the future. So I just wanted to pose that one first. And the second one, just not to take a lot of time, is to what can you say in terms of businesses for those aspiring business people that basically they actually think maybe these days that business in South Africa is about tender to tender. But as I heard you talking about your SWOT analysis, probably the task forces and all those things, I wanted maybe maybe if you can just something that you can say around that as a business, you need to follow some model. Thank you.
Okay. Let me just say this. Can you hear me, ne?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I also run Mbono Media. So what happened there is there were young people who came to me and said, look, I think they're from Boston. All of them, they had media qualifications, radio, TV presenting and stuff. And then I funded that business. And now we have Mbono Media, which does online radio, magazine, and TV. And after making sure that I bring these young people together and I give them resources, because also I have access to China. So I bought every equipment, studio equipment, and I gave them to say, guys, you can run this thing. And I had to help them to register a company, a media company, which they run. I'm not even part of I'm not even a director in that company, but it was like behind the scenes just to assist them. So my point is, we also need to help Bafowethu. Let us not help in a speech to pay. Let us not help by just talking. Let's help these young people. Let's let's help them. Where you can invest, let's invest to their project. So in saying that, I'm saying I'm open to business partnerships, because I also, if you go to my page, you see we launched Pay Less More Fire Depot in Tembisa, because we saw an opportunity in More Fire, which More Fire is listed to Pick n Pay and some, I think Pick n Pay is one of the retail stores where More Fire is listed. And More Fire currently does not have the capacity to supply all the Pick n Pays. For example, if you go to one of the Pick n Pays in Soweto, you might not find More Fire. That says, as a young person there, if you have a company, registered company, that will allow you to do invoice. You can go and buy More Fire in any wholesale and supply that Pick n Pay. Because what Pick n Pay is looking for is just for you to give them a proper invoice, because they will scan the product of More Fire and they will see on the system that this product is listed with us, and they'll negotiate the price with you. So those are some of the opportunities that they are there and people are not aware. You can just get a space somewhere. You don't even have to go to More Fire. Go to these wholesalers, because they get a stock at a very less price because of they buy in bulk. So they qualify for 7% discount. So you can just go there, buy and supply. You can even walk into Sasol Garage, BP, Engine, and say to them, I'm a sales rep in More Fire. I want to supply with More Fire. They don't even need your qualifications. You don't have to prove anything. As long as you have a registered company that can issue out invoices, then you have business. So I thought I need also to share that as well. But I'm open to business partnerships. I'm open to anything. I'm open to making sure that we can also uplift young people like us. I don't like to. That's why I'm not good at Kuluma, because I want us to do things. If young people, they are saying now they want this, they want to achieve this thing, as long as you can formalize them, you need to help them to formalize their businesses in Ghana and help them to fundraise. There are a lot of projects where they can fundraise. So for me, I feel like there's still business. It's just that in Abantu, we're looking for fancy, I call it a fancy hustle. Nowadays, opportunities, they come dressed up in overalls. Like as I'm telling you now, there's opportunities like More Fire, plenty of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities. Selling, we need to start selling. You remember that song Skabaram Reiki? It was trending because everyone could relate. There's Konka, which encourages people to reka. We always talk about reka. Can we be for once abarekisi? Go buy anything. If you have 200 rands, go buy a case of More Fire. That case of More Fire, if you sell a can, is 24 cans, you get 140 rands. So obviously, 90 rand. It's something. So that's where you start. We need to help young people to develop the culture of selling. They must not be ashamed of selling. You know, that's why DJ School go to all this corner sectors. The reason I was doing that was just trying to show young people it doesn't matter who you are. Sell. Let's sell. Let's sell. I'm not sure if I answered that question.
No, thank you. You did. So hopefully we'll start maybe some program. So maybe we can take it offline after this. But thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And also in 2 seconds, correctional facilities, Department of Correctional Services, they don't have rehabilitation programs. If you go to prisons, you would life skill, anger management, which is not enough. So any young person who sees Uguti, if I can provide this skill, it can at least also help in correcting the offending behavior, but also give these people skills when they come out, they can start their own businesses. You can package that program, and then we as an NPO, and I can help you to implement that program in one of the prisons, at least for 6 months, then we see the results. When there's a result, I can help you to set up a meeting with the Department of Correctional Services. Then you present the program based on the results that we have run in prison, that we've achieved in prison. And then you can formalize your NPO. They will give you a letter of support to say, we endorse this program. That letter of support with your NPO, you can go to social development or National Terrorist Board and get funded and run that program, MHL. So what I'm trying to say is, MHL, we shouldn't look for a matenda. No. They need programs, those guys. A lot of prisons are struggling with rehabilitation programs because there's no one who can provide. There's no one who can tap into the psyche of an offender and say, I think an offender would need this in order to address this certain behavior. It doesn't have to be a business always. It could be morally and otherwise. So there are a lot of opportunities also for our NPOs. Imagine. Because I feel like they look at NPOs, they're like, I'm NPO, I want no. There's more that NPOs can do in those kind of spaces, especially Guma correctional facilities. There's a plenty of opportunities there. Currently, there's a program which is called Life Skill. That Life Skill is from Germany. So you see the opportunities there. That Life Skill program is from Germany, and it has been rolled out in all prisons. And there's not even a single program that is running in prisons. Even churches as well, as a prison ministry, they need to develop programs and go there and run a program, not to visit once. We have a program into so there are opportunities also in that space as well.
Wow, no, Mr. Manka, I think you are definitely on another level. Yeah, you are definitely on another level. I think this is mind-boggling. Yeah, to think that I think we always think of prisons not in a possibility of getting an opportunity to run a business that adds value and also grows, sustains your life. I think this is something that, thank you so much for that. Yeah, and I think there's someone who requested your contacts. I think are we allowed to share your contacts?
Yeah.
We will definitely share your contacts with people who've attended, and thank you so much, everyone. I think people are really encouraged by your words, and I think a lot of people will be contacting you for support. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And those that they're into catering, because we run Ndayeni restaurant. I'm a co-founder of Ndayeni restaurant that is based in Pretoria State Theatre. I always say to people, go and look at our menu. If you have a special menu or a specific menu that you think it will add value to our menu book, come to me, let's talk. Let's try it, let's put it there, and then retry. Then if the clients, if customers, they're enjoying that that meal, yakho, that concept there, how, then we can talk. That one, I'm open for it. And also, I'll encourage them to visit in the restaurant just to go and see. Because if you want to launch a book, we'll give you a venue for free. Because there we don't just looking for making money, but we also want to create opportunities for young people as well. If you want to host an event, you can go there. We'll give you that venue for free of charge. You don't pay anything. It's free, and it's proper. It's free. So they need to check out the Ndaini restaurant as well. Or what? So those are opportunities that are there as we speak. So any event where you're going to make money, we'll talk. But the venue is there. We're not going to charge you for the venue, for certain things. We've got the sound, we've got speakers, we've got everything that is required for one to run a successful event. So opportunities are there as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Manka. Yeah, I think we are so much inspired and we are honored to be in your presence. Yeah, I think we don't have to know you for 30 years to know that you are a legend. Yeah, definitely a legend in making. Yeah, and we are definitely going to be leaning on your expertise going forward. And as BMF Soweto, we will be hosting events in 2022 at the Ndaini restaurant. Yeah, definitely, we'll definitely keep in contact. And that idea of people coming up with recipes, I think there's an event you can come up with and encourage people. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, on that note, I think I'd like us to cut it here and say, Mr. Manka, thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to engaging with you further in 2022 and beyond.
No, thank you so much to everyone. And thank you to BMF. I'm part of the family now. So yeah, let's push and let's encourage one another and let's talk less and do more. And let's make sure with each and every meeting next week we implement, So I would like to thank everyone for this opportunity. Mr. Lebohang Holo, and thank you so much and all the best to everyone. May God bless you.
That note, I say goodbye. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.